Good morning, traders. My name is Adam Harris, and this is your opening bell. So welcome, traders. It is Friday the 17th of February. The reason I look a little bit different today is I am on holiday, and this is going to be an exception. It doesn't often happen that I'll be talking to you folks like this. So it is Friday. In terms of economic calendar news, we don't really have anything out scheduled for today. So not really expecting much disruption in terms of sudden spikes in volatility. However, I would say that dollar is continuing to look strong. So my primary expectation is to see that dollar continue to push a little bit further. And so I'm really expecting, for the most part, to see equities drop, potentially finish lower. The question is, how much lower? Will they stay in the same place or potentially finish much lower, producing an actual bearish weekly candle, which will be significant for next week? If we get a very bearish weekly candle across a series of the markets, most of the markets, we're then going to see it's high probability that next week we will see the markets continue to head lower. So in terms of, there's very little economic calendar news scheduled. There's no real IPOs worth mentioning at this time. There's no real stock split. So today is a relatively quiet day. The focus for me is predominantly going to be on shorting some of those currencies. I expect the euro to go lower, the pound to go lower, Australian dollar, so on and so forth, to head lower. The Kiwi dollar yen is going to continue to climb higher. So a lot of those markets are just going to maintain the trends that they have had from yesterday. Then when I have a look at, say, gold, for example, gold is continuing to head lower. It certainly has 1800 in its sights. There's no reason why it can't potentially go that way. The real question is how aggressive is today going to be to the downside? How that dollar is quite strong. Are we going to see just a casual move, or are we going to see a very bearish finish? And so this is just where some of that caution is going to be in terms of higher time frame traders. The US indices as well experienced a bearish day yesterday. I expect that to continue to finish a little bit lower. For example, if we look at equities, individual equities, Tesla actually has formed a bit of a double top on the daily, which in itself is usually a bit of a bearish pattern. So the question is, can it recover, or will it break the previous swing low or finish close to that low? All of these have implications which will carry over to next week for traders. What else? That will impact, of course, crypto. So cryptos will then struggle a little bit. They may be pushed a little bit lower, especially if tech stocks are going to go lower. And then with bonds, we can see those bonds, that downtrend is very bearish. So it's not a coincidence when we look across all the different asset classes that most of the markets are continuing to test fresh lows. And as I said, I'm going to wrap this up. But as I said today, the real question is it going to finish on a really bearish tone across the board with that dollar regaining strength? I still feel that the dollar should have tapped 1. However, the dollar index should have touched 100, I beg your pardon. But for the time being, I expect it to continue climbing. And most of the currencies are looking quite weak. So there's going to be a real mixture of different across the different markets. Even crude oil is taking a bit of a hit as well. So commodities will be pushed lower. And one thing I think worthy of mentioning is that I've been talking about wheat, which has been in a very bullish build-up breakout pattern for several months, and now actually I see it's broken outside of that, so now that is looking a little bit weak. So we could be seeing a return of that stronger dollar. Just something to keep in mind. On that note, I want to wish you a fantastic weekend, and I will see you next week.